Am I going to play Marathon? Probably. It just comes down to like what the timing of things. You're so full of shit. When the game comes out, you'll be all over it. Brother, let me tell you something. Just like Destiny, we're like a news reporter on the scene of disaster. So yeah, of course we're gonna of course we're gonna be there. We've got it covered. I've actually like really come around to extraction shooters. I think the two that Arc Raiders and Exoborn are the two that are like the most standout extractions for me so far. And so Marathon's got a hell of a hill to climb here for me. It's gonna have to do something that really pops off to outweigh those, especially Arc Raiders. No, it's interesting you bring this up, guys, about Marathon. Where is that article, guys? All right, so this was the article right here. Arc Raiders director says that Bungie's Marathon test was a very great A/B test that helped Embark see what worked and what didn't. Also called its art style very evocative. I hope to see more of that in the future. All right, so if you're wondering what, like, we'll let the article just explain. So from Abdullah right here, Arc Raiders designer, director Virgil Watkins says, Bungie's troubled Marathon test became a great A/B test that helped Embark refine what worked and what didn't for its own upcoming extraction shooter. Bungie's Marathon might not have had the best first impressions earlier this year, but over at Embark Studios, the game still played a valuable role, just not in the way you'd expect. Oh, it played a hell of a role. No, we'll talk about it in just a moment, because these two things happened from the first playtest from Marathon into Arc Raiders playtest. And guess what? Marathon went first. So it was actually a great opportunity for Embark to see, like, what are all the potential f***ups, if you know what I mean. Earlier this year, Bungie rolled out its first closed alpha playtest for Marathon, its upcoming extraction shooter. The feedback wasn't pretty. The test was met with mixed and negative reactions from players who expected more from the long-awaited reboot. Many criticized that the game was missing key features that you expect in an extraction shooter game. Add to that the now infamous art theft controversy, where Marathon's art director had to publicly apologize after art assets were found in the alpha build of the game, directly ripped from an indie artist without permission. Since then, the game has been stuck in recovery mode with a delayed release and a new round of invite-only testing running this week. Meanwhile, Embark Studios' Arc Raiders has been having a much better time. Jeez, that's an understatement. The free-to-play project turned premium extraction shooter just wrapped up its biggest server slam weekend, pulling in around 190,000 concurrent players on Steam and landing in the platform's top 3 sellers. Now, Virgil Watkins, the design director on Arc Raiders, says that Marathon's disastrous tests actually helped Embark sharpen its own design director. Marathon's tests helped Arc Raiders compare and contrast key design ideas. Speaking of PC Gamer, Watkins said the overlapping release for Bungie's Marathon test and Embark's playtest for Arc Raiders was a coincidence, giving both studios a rare opportunity to learn from each other's choices. So, quote, "It was very coincidental that they had their tests around the time we did," Watkins said. "To my knowledge, I don't think any of us knew that was going to happen. It was a very great A/B test for us because obviously they made decisions that we didn't and vice versa. So we could kind of compare and contrast how some of those things shook out." Look, I'm not saying that most of us weren't hyped for Arc Raiders, but do you feel like Marathon rolling out first in their playtests, really missing the mark, kind of almost pushed us to take a look at Arc Raiders more? We would have played both regardless. It's not about whether or not you would have played both. It's about your thoughts afterwards, your experience. And you saw it was such polar experiences between the two. You had one game that was very much still needing to be cooked, and then you had another game that was very much refined. And despite even being in that refined state, it didn't roll out until now, or until here in another week. Now, it's quite interesting to follow up in what players thought about those certain things, or what did work in their context and didn't, and what may have worked in ours. Watkins added that Embark didn't pick apart Marathon with a magnifying glass, especially since Bungie's test was limited in scope, but he was rooting for it to succeed. He also complimented Bungie's visual approach, calling Marathon's art style very evocative, and says he's genuinely curious to see how the project evolves. "I'm personally curious to see how that ends up. I hope to see more of that in the future," he said. Let me just say, as a studio, this is exactly how you're supposed to be. And I'm not talking about like rooting for the other studio. It's just purely acknowledging your competition. I saw this unfold with like Anthem and BioWare and EA. Y'all remember that article that broke from Schreier, how BioWare wasn't even allowed to, or devs at BioWare weren't allowed to talk about the competition, most notably Destiny 2, while they were making Anthem. How can you make a looter shooter if you don't look through your competition and see what works and what doesn't? And they obviously saw here with Marathon that features like solo play, proximity chat, obviously not having those things present just completely blew up in Bungie's face. Now, with Arc Raiders just days away, Embark clearly feels confident in its direction. On the other side, Bungie still needs to build player trust. The developers holding a closed tech test later this week. As for what's changed with Marathon since its closed alpha test, the game post exclusive reported several updates and developers have implemented, including the long requested proximity chat, new runners, the UESC Marathon ship map, and how it works and more. Can I just say this, guys? What if this past summer, despite how terrible it was, despite so many features being missing, and despite having to watch one of the most uncomfortable streams ever, where Bungie had to come out and publicly acknowledge that yes, art had been stolen, what if that was the best thing for Marathon? Because a September launch, in my opinion, would have been disastrous for him. And all of these features would have been added months after the initial launch. At least now we're going to get, I don't want to say a complete package, but a more complete package. Yeah, I mean, sometimes you got to get, I felt like, and then seeing Arc Raiders, you're looking across, you see your competition, you see the type of product they're putting out, you see Arc Raiders about to roll out with not 4 but 5 maps. The 5th map's supposed to come sometime after launch. I mean, dude, you got to pick your game up. And like Bungie has always been like, a lot of people have applauded like the PvE side on Bungie, right? The raids, their dungeons, and everything else. But I gotta say, guys, enemy AI in Arc Raiders is some of the best I've ever had to deal with. They're all over the place, but it makes every engagement so different. What I'm hoping is that Bungie is looking squarely at Arc Raiders and going, all right, we've got to pick up our game in these areas to compete against Arc Raiders and, of course, other games that have well-established communities. Competition is good, makes both products better. Agreed. Well, I will say this. I think a lot of people definitely have a hate boner for Marathon. Dude, I keep coming back to this, man. Bungie, unintentionally, or I don't know what, they kind of weaponize their own community against themselves. This isn't like Soulframe and Warframe, where Warframe players are they're rooting for Soulframe and its success. And then when you see streams from DE, they're doing streams showing off Warframe and they're moving into Soulframe and they're talking about what they learned from Warframe, which is transitioned into Soulframe, and you feel like you're part of one big family. Again, you removed all PvP updates essentially from Destiny PvP. You didn't even give us maps until we just damn near, we were demanding, everyone was demanding it. And then the first thing we hear about Marathon and your Vidoc was how important the integrity of PvP is to you, which is why Marathon will be getting dedicated servers. There was nothing what should have been said in that moment. We understand how important the integrity of PvP is in all of our games. So therefore, we will be rolling out dedicated servers for Marathon when it launches and for Destiny now. You've turned your community against you. And that's not even including the competition you got to go up against. Now listen, I hope it's going to be a good game. We'll definitely be playing it. We'll see, man. We'll see. We'll see if it lives up. And I hope it exceeds all of our expectations. I will say by that point, Tarkov will be on Steam, right? I'm pretty sure Tarkov is coming to Steam here pretty soon. Arc Raiders will be very much entrenched with their community. And we'll just see, man. We'll see what shakes out. As someone enjoyed Marathon playtest, the launch initially being in September fucked it up. Also the art scandal. I mean, I enjoyed Marathon, but I'm gonna be honest, the first playtest, I didn't see myself playing it after that first week. And what happened? Who were the people that were still playing the Marathon playtests? The small Marathon community, and they're there. But Destiny players. I would say Destiny players were the only ones still playing that thing after the first few days. Marathon was fine. Fine just won't cut it. Fine won't cut it, guys. That's what I'm trying to say, man. Fine is not going to drag someone away. That is like Tarkov players. Have y'all talked to Tarkov players? Some of you are in the stream right now. You guys are fucking crazy about Tarkov. You're not going to drag away Tarkov players with just fine. You can't just throw up some it's all right. It's sci-fi. You know what I mean? That ain't gonna pull them the fuck away. And look, Arc Raiders players, they're gonna be the exact same thing. Marathon's gonna have to do something special. And yeah, I am concerned. I hope they cook, man. I hope they cook. They should abandon what they're doing, start converting Marathon into Destiny 3. Not gonna happen, guys. Not gonna happen. That shit's going out. And honestly, I wish Marathon was coming out this year. Like, I wish it could come out December or January or something. You know what I mean? I just want it out. I just want it out here in front of us. And for no other reason than just get it out the door. It either sinks or swim. One or the other. And look, nothing would make me happier. And I truly mean this. Nothing would make me happier than Marathon rolling out, and it is a massive success. It fucking kills it, brother. We're turning. Nothing would make me happier than Les calling me, being like, "Hey, man, are you playing Marathon tonight?" Fuck yeah. Hell yeah. I'll be on this evening. Nothing would make me happier than the boys calling me. Hey, man, are you doing marathon this weekend? Fuck yeah. Let's hit it. Be nice if it's successful enough to fund a D3. Dude, at this rate, by the time a D3 comes out, if it ever comes out, I'm going to have a kid in college. You know what I'm saying?
Slap that like button like your mama told you right.